recording? It's recording. Okay, so I'm making this video as a reminder for myself that I have actually found my own confluence within the market to give me the ultimate edge within the market. So, um, I don't know what ended up happening. Something weird ended up happening. Um, and I do fully believe that it happened after I started getting in tune more with God, because I prayed and prayed for a lot of people, and I prayed for myself to find, um, you know, to find something within the markets to help me be successful. And this week alone has been my most profitable week ever in trading out of all, 8 months of trading or 9 months, however long I've been trading. It's been my most profitable week. Um, I turned $20 into $35 this week alone, and on a small live account that I'm funding, my wife gave me $20, and I flipped it and made another 15. And if you ask anybody to do that, they realize it's not easy, because $20 is such a small amount of money within the market, but that's what I accomplished this week. So I'm really proud of that. But it didn't come because of what I've normally been doing. It actually came because of something that I found back testing, studying, and it just clicked out of one day to the next. It just kind of clicked. So I finally found the times in which I need to be in the market looking for a setup, and what I need to see in order to take that setup. So it has finally given me the ultimate strategy. So let's get to the breakdown. Here you have USD CAD Asia session. Now we know that the high and the low of Asia session are pure liquidity. So all I'm going to wait for is a simple sweep of the lows or the highs, and then a change of character within the structure to then target the opposing side. But there are specific times within the market that you need to be looking. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write down all those times right now. These are my new strategies confirmation checklist. No Asian session. Okay, trading. We do not trade Asia session, okay, at all. Second point, the New York, okay, we're going to be looking at around 5. Look for setups around setups an hour before, during, and after New York and London. Okay, so we're going to be looking for setups 1 hour before New York Open, during New York Open, and 1 hour after New York Open. Same thing for London. 1 hour before London, during London Open, and 1 hour after London Open. I just figured this out this week. I don't know how it happened, but I figured it out. So now we wait for Asian high or low sweep. Okay. Wait for a change of character to target the opposing side. And that is it. out supplier demand, take trade. That's it. Okay, that is the complete breakdown. So my confirmation checklist now is no Asian session trading. You can see this whole time in this market here, I was not trading this. We wait, we look for setups an hour before, during, and after New York and London. Wait for Asian high or low sweep. Wait for change of character to target the opposing side. Mark out the supplier demand zone and take the trade. That is it. That's all I do now. And I've had the most success this week with it. I'll show you all the trades that I took on my live account to make a profit of $15. And then I'll show you the other trades that I took on my funded account. So here we go. We're gonna fast forward a little bit. And here you can see Asian ended. So if we're going based off of the rule that we gotta go into the market 1 hour before each session that we trade, I need to be looking in the market at 11:30. Okay, so at 11:30, 11:28 to 11:30, I'm gonna be in the market looking for a setup. So let's let price run. So it's about 10:15 now. So I'm not worried yet. I'm still not in the market. And here's 11:30 right here. So you can see now, come 11:30, 11:27 or so, I'm checking the market. The first thing I noticed, Asian high got swept. That is one of my first confirmations. Asian high got swept. The next confirmation, change of character. We're making higher highs and higher lows. And then we have a sudden sweep to the downside here. Perfectly matches up. So now that we have a change of character, the real change of character came here. But I'll mark the change of character where it's obvious for everybody to see, which is here. So now we have a change of character. And all I want to wait for is a pullback into the supply area up here. So here's what ended up happening with this trade. I took my sell from here. I entered sells here. But it ended up sweeping my stop loss. But do you see what happened? All market wanted to do was grab a little bit extra money and stop me out before dropping. So as soon as I got that wick rejection and close, I entered the sells here, stop at this high, like so, and now all I'm targeting is Asia's low, because I know that there is liquidity resting at that low. And that's it. That's all I do. And you can see how it mitigated because of how rapidly it dropped to the downside. It was obvious that price would have reacted from this point here, because this is another, it's like a setup, but the liquidity at the draw of liquidity is at the low. So this would have been a failed setup. And just like that, it flew to the downside. Super simple, super easy and effective. And that's all I do. So now let's go and test this theory out, this strategy, somewhere else. So in the hourly, the first thing I'm identifying is this lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low structure. We are bearish where we're at. So what ended up happening here? You can see here that in the 30-minute, and if we drop to the 20 as well, it's even clearer. It's way more cleaner. We change character, right? But we're not in the market at this point. This is not when we're in the market. We don't even know this happened. Okay? When do we find out that there's a setup here? After Asia, right? So if we're waiting for after Asian session, I'm checking the market here. 11:30 right here. This candle in between these two candles, because this is the 20 minutes, so it's not going to have an odd number. The 11:30 time frame is right here. So if I'm checking the market at about 11:30, which would be right here, this is my window. I now will see this setup. So now, what ended up happening though? Asia low got swept, and we still have Asia high to take. So I mark out my demand zone. Wait for entry. I could put a pending limit, whatever I want to do, but I'm targeting Asia high liquidity. Stop at this low, and now we just let price do its thing. So you can see that 11:30 time window, we found our setup. This is the hour before London Open. So because we already found our setup the hour before London Open, we don't need to check it during London Open anymore, because London Open would be in between here. And then come New York, pre-New York, an hour before New York, it tapped in and mitigated. So you can see how it's extremely crucial to stay true to that confirmation checklist. Okay? Just like that. Super simple. So now I'm going to break down another. And the reason why this one didn't work out is because, one, I didn't follow none of my rules here. And two, it was overall bearish on UCAD. So if we go to the 4 hour, you can see this is a lower low, followed by a lower high, followed by an even lower low. So, but we caught the structure in here using the strategy. Let's go on over to NZD/USD now. So that's two examples. So what happened here on NZD/USD? Okay. Remember the timings that we checked the market, okay? The timings are an hour before, during, and after each open that we trade. So, here we are, 4:30 a.m. Here's 5 a.m. So I'm now in the market at 5:30. There is no setup yet. So we can first identify structure, which is bearish. We made a lower low. We swept Asia low, but there is no setup. Okay. So now we're gonna come back during New York Open. And by New York Open, 6:30, right here, we have our setup. So now we gave sweep of these equal highs right here. This is not a change of character, but in the 15-minute structure, this is when trading can get confusing for a lot of people, okay? So this pullback is bullish. This is printing higher highs and higher lows. But in the higher time frames, this is just a lower high. This whole move to the upside is a lower high. That may be confusing, that's more advanced, but these are higher highs and higher lows, okay? Now, we had a change of character in this structure. Imbalance to come back up and fill. So by 6:30 market New York open, I see my setup, and then I look for an area to sell from. So if you don't find any clean zones, you can just look for the most obvious demand. Personally, all I did was take it from this 30-minute candle here, but if you look in the 20-minute, you can see this really nice indecision candle right here. It smacked that area nicely. And now all we wait for is that push to the downside from this area that we're selling from. Targeting this area here, this previous support, because now this has high probability to bounce off. And what do you know? It bounced off perfectly. So you can see Asia, London, there's no setup. Come New York, there's no setups whatsoever. So there was no trade here, but there was a trade here, and it mitigated the hour after New York open that we checked the market as well. But because we already found our setup during New York open, there's no reason to check the market. Just set a pending and let price do its thing. So that's another successful trade. Let's go on over to Bitcoin. I actually took a trade yesterday. Market closed yesterday, but not for me because I'm still able to trade Bitcoin. Okay, full TP is Asian high, obviously. That's what we target. So if we're looking at it, what ended up happening, okay? So you can see Asia, London, and New York. Okay. 6:30 is in between here. There is a setup. And what does the setup look like? 6:30 a.m. Changed character here. Broke the structure. We now pull back into demand at this level. And I think I got my zone from like the 20, this indecision candle here, targeting this supply because overall structure was bearish. You can see here lower low. So I was targeting this supply zone so this is another setup that was successful. But because we failed this supply, this is now turned into a failed supply zone. Failed supply. So what does that mean for us? We can now continue that bullish structure. So let's wait. So knowing what we know and doing what we do, we're not looking for a setup until after Asia is done. So here we have Asia, and then here we go. I took this trade last night. Within this structure, you can see lower high, lower low, lower high, failed to make a lower low here, higher high. Okay, but I'm not in the market until 11:30. So you can see right here, 11:30. So let's see. Let's go into this area. I didn't tap into this area because I wasn't in the market yet. But let's go and check it out. When we go into the 3-minute, $11.30. 11:30 is right here. So what do we notice about this area here? We have a 3-minute lower high, lower low, change of character. So now all we're waiting for is a pullback into demand here, targeting the highs and targeting the Asian high up there. So I'm gonna go to the 5-minute, grab my demand zone, drag it out, mitigated. So here's 11:30. I found my setup the hour before London, set my pending limit at this demand zone, and then it pushed down in my sleep and ran to TP. So where was TP at? Well, what do we know? Okay, we got tapped in, targeting the highs there. So this could be a potential 1 to 11, but if we're going based off of where market is at, TP1 has already been hit for a 1 to 4. Super simple, and it works. I've already showed you about 4 or 5 examples of this exact time zone, these time windows, and the strategy that I've been using to take trades, and to show you that it does work. So it keeps you from looking at the market at really unnecessary times. Let's go on over to NASDAQ. Hour before, during, and after. Don't forget it. What do we have here? We have consolidation, sweep of these lows, and then a break of structure to the upside. So if we're looking at the market before, during, and after each session, 11:30, there's no setup. 5:30, there's no setup. 6:30, there's no setup. 8 o'clock, there's still no setup. Here's 8:30 though. So by 8:30, we're in the market again. Remember, by 8:30, we're checking for setups. And look at 8:30, we finally got that break and close above. So now, all we have to do is wait for price. So once we broke and closed above, we can target a demand zone down here and target the highs. And look at that, played out perfectly, ran to the highs, mitigated by 9:30. Same thing down here. Asia, no setup during London open. Here we go. 5:30, there's no setup. 6:30, there's no setup. But if you notice, there is a setup here. So this demand zone here, by 5:30, we could have noticed that and took a buy here. But comes 6:30, and then here's 7:30, and we're in the market right here as well. Boom, by 8:30, we got tapped in, targeted the highs. So I like to say, look at the market about 1 hour before, during, and after, and you can also look at the market a little bit after, so like 7:45, 7:30 to 8 a.m. Okay. So you see here, 6:30, come 7:30, and then here's 8:30. There's a setup within our time zone. So now, all we gotta do is wait for that pullback here. Put our pending at this supply here, and wait for price's rejection. Target these lows down here. So, just to show you, this really does work. Okay, super simple. I don't know how easier I can make it. I mean, it just proves that these time zones work. Right there. You can see it hit for a 1 to 5. And this is always after Asia. We do not trade Asia. If there is no setup in our time windows, there is no trade for the day. And that's all it is. Super simple. So, I hope this video helped. I'm gonna show you guys one last thing. So, here is a sell example. Okay. And here is a buy example. Lower low, lower high, lower low structure, higher high, tap into demand, target the Asian high. Same thing, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, tap into supply, target Asian lower or equal lows to the downside. So that is all that you need to understand and know. Even on silver, you can see where silver is at now. But from the area I pressed buy at, what do you notice? 530 come. Here's 630. If it tapped in during 630, it's bouncing around our area. Pulled back 730. So in 730, we're looking. We can see by 730, there's this nice demand zone right here. We could still take a buy from. But this was the overall setup. And why this zone? Because there is a nice demand point here after sweeping lows, making a higher high, pulling back, boom, flying to the upside. Super simple. So that's it for me though. I just wanted to make this video as a documentation for myself for the future, as reference, and to look back on, and to understand that, man, it's pretty crazy like that this came about out of nowhere, these time windows and all that stuff, because that's the one thing that I always struggled with, was time windows and understanding when to be in the market and when not to be. And that is one of the hardest things that people struggle with in trading. So really quick before I do end it though, I'm gonna go over the exact trades I took this week on my live account to flip it from 20 to 35. So first trade, USD, and I don't think I had came up with this confluence yet by this point. It's back at the 12th of August. Right here. I took my sell right here. So you can clearly tell I didn't have my confluence down yet. And you can see that it didn't work out that well. We tapped into this area here. I pressed sell right here. And I TP'd out here. This was not a good trade though. This trade doesn't make sense to me. Why I took this sell, I don't know. But you know what? I still somehow made profit. But this is before the confluence came about. The second trade on my live account happened on UJ. You can see that trade here. So 12:30, we're in the market. 11:30, we're in the market, and we can see that nice setup. If we're checking 12:30, we see this setup here. So I actually got my zone from the 15. News had come out as well. So I seen that we had a draw of liquidity here. Even though we didn't take the low of Asia, the setup was within Asia session, but in our time window. So this is still a valid trade to take. So you can see as soon as it came down, it went straight up instantly. It was the fastest 1 to 5 ever caught. So that's really it. That was the second trade I took on my live account. So at this point, I'm up about $5. I took 2 losses, USD CAD, but they shouldn't have been losses because USD CAD did play out here to the upside. It did play out. I did try to press buy, but I pressed buy a little bit too early, it stopped me out. Gold. I didn't have a confluence yet. Sold here. And you can see the time that I was in the market, which was weird. It was during Asia, which made no sense. So, but I still profited. Then Bitcoin. Here comes Bitcoin. The buys that I showed you on Bitcoin. Really good trades. So these 2 trades alone made up pretty much all of the profit on my account. Super simple. And we'll see today. I'll be looking for any more possible setups come today. So it is 8:30, almost 8:30, so that's why I'm in the market right now. So let's see if we can find anything. And you can see that there's really nothing on Bitcoin right now at the moment. So it looks like it's going to be a no trading day for me. I'm going to go have fun with my family at the lake. And that's it. I mean, I hope this video explained it really well on how it works. I'll draw a more in-depth detailed example like when I do the structure like this. I'll do a more in-depth structural video to really explain everything again. But for now, this was just a quick breakdown of the strategy I've been using and have had success with this whole week. So that's about it.